War from Mexico. Today, we're bringing you news from July 20th to July 26th. Today, we're talking about how a U.S. citizen was arrested in Culiacan and was linked to organized crime. A member of Cartel del Noreste was arrested for money laundering in Yucatan. He had the big bucks. He had a Porsche and a Lambo on him. Cartel de Sinaloa threatens the Zacatecas governor. CJNG M4, the successor of El Jardinero, was arrested in Nayarit. The CJNG is crumbling. Cartel de la Sierra show off a so-called training camp. A gun member unalives the mayor of Temoac, Morelos. El Cebollo, operator of La Malliza, was arrested in Colima. A U.S. citizen was arrested in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, and he was linked to the Chapitos. Llanero Van de Maria Gareth, a U.S. citizen allegedly linked to the Los Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel, was arrested by Mexican security forces in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, announced by the Security Minister Omar Garcia Harfuch. Gareth was arrested in a joint operation with Secretaría de Marina and other agencies. He will be deported to the United States because he has a U.S. warrant issued in the state of Michigan for the crime of possession with intent to distribute controlled substances. To me, he was doing a trip and he got caught up. Let's continue. It is unclear exactly what Garrett's relationship with Los Chapitos was. His arrest in the port city of Mazatlan, a major entry point for precursor chemicals and exit point for synthetic drugs, suggests he may have been sourcing narcotics to bring into the United States. Although nothing is confirmed, Garrett has a lengthy criminal history in the United States, ranging 20 years, including carrying concealed weapons, possession of stolen property, and assault. In February 2024, Garrett was arrested in connection with the murder of a man in Canton Township, Michigan. He was charged with carrying a concealed weapon, possession of firearm by a felon, and an additional charge of a second offense felony firearm, but not homicide. So yeah, this guy you have on your screen, Llanero Van de Mario Gareth, a U.S. citizen, was arrested in Mazatlan and he was linked to the Chapitos. He was maybe doing a trip and getting some narcotics to bring back into the United States, specifically maybe the state of Michigan, even though he had an arrest warrant there, so we don't know if that's a good idea for him. Or maybe he was just hiding out forever down there in Mexico because he was linked to a homicide in Michigan. And, if you want to enter the United States again from Mexico, you have to be checked by U.S. Border Patrol or U.S. Customs. So I don't know what he was doing down there. Maybe he was hiding out or just getting some narcotics, maybe starting out his cartel career down there. But he got caught up and now he's getting deported back to Michigan. Let's move on to the second story. Here we have a Cartel de Noreste money launderer was arrested in Yucatan. He had $8 million in luxury cars seized. Yesterday, Mexican authorities arrested Justo Aurelio Rivera Parazales, who they claim is a primarily financial operator and money launderer for the Cartel del Noreste. 15 luxury vehicles worth more than $1 million were seized. The arrest aligns with Mexican president's security strategy, which aims to target criminal groups by dismantling mid-level operatives and their financial support structures. The operation also follows the April 2026 U.S. Treasury Department sanctions against Cartel de Noreste. In addition to the arrest of Rivera, the Mexican Navy seized 15 high-end vehicles, a safe, 2 firearms, cartridges, a bag of methamphetamine, cash in dollars, and jewelry in 4 raids across the city of Mérida, Yucatan. In February 2025, the Cartel del Noreste was designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S. Department of State. The United States was not playing when they designated cartels as terrorist organizations, and as you can see, they are targeting them. They're putting pressure into the Mexican government to go after the cartels, and they are doing so. Let's move on to the third story. The Sinaloa cartel claims 10 corpses from Zacatecas, and they threaten the governor in a narco video. We're not going to play the narco video, however. In a recent narco video, gunmen identifying themselves as members of the Sinaloa cartel claimed credit for the 10 corpses that were thrown around Zacatecas last weekend. The gunmen claimed the victims had broken an agreement with the Mayos and Cabrera's faction of the Sinaloa cartel. The gunmen referenced 10 corpses that were dumped in 3 locations across Zacatecas state last weekend. In one of the body dumps, 5 corpses were hanged from a bridge with a rambling narco message blaming the victims for corruption and theft from the government. Among the 10 victims were the former mayor of Sobrerete and the secretary of social development for the Fresnillo municipal government. The dead also included a firefighter, cattle ranchers, construction contractors, and restaurant owners from several municipalities from Zacatecas. They also included a narco message right there on the spot, and then they put out the narco video. We're not showing none of those horrible things that are happening in Zacatecas. Zacatecas is on flames right now. They also send like one of the most trained agencies in Mexico known as los murciélagos or the murciélagos. They're in Zacatecas right now and they're trying to clean up Zacatecas. They cleaned up Durango, now they're going for Zacatecas. Hopefully they get it. And bad, it's so bad down there. The fourth news of today is CJNG's El M4's alleged successor to El Jardinero was arrested in Nayarit. Mexican authorities arrested Jose Guadalupe Ahumada Villegas alias El M4, a high-ranking operator of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, along with 9 other suspected cartel members during multiple raids on Sunday in Nayarit. Federal forces conducted 7 simultaneous operations in the municipalities of Tepic and Jalisco, seizing weapons, vehicles, and other assets valued at over 4 million pesos. M4 is believed to have taken over as the CJNG top coordinator for the criminal operations in Nayarit and Tlaxcala after the April 2026 arrest of his predecessor, Audias Flores Silva, alias El Jardinero. Authorities identify M4 as the CJNG's most important commander in the region. The group faces charges linked to homicide, kidnapping, extortion, drug trafficking, cargo theft, arms trafficking, and the illegal extraction and sale of fuel. CJNG is facing serious troubles. They're crumbling. In April 2026, El Jardinero was arrested, and now El M4, his successor, was arrested in July, just 3 months after he was arrested. They're after them. Either someone is snitching inside, like I said in the last video, or the Mexican military, the government, they're really going after them. On our 5th story of the day, we have Cartel de la Sierra release a training camp video, or they show off their training camp of their gunmen. 2 new videos show Cartel de la Sierra, also known as Los Tlarcos, their gunmen undergoing basic training on a regular soccer field in Carrizalillo, a rural part of Guerrero. In the videos, which were sourced by Mexican Narcos, an X account focused on documenting footage of criminal groups in Mexico. Dozens of gunmen are lined up practicing shouldering rifles, aiming in different positions and basic stances. Several instructors are demonstrating or overseeing the drills. The training appears to be basic level, possibly weapons, familiarization, and movement drills for brand new recruits. The video was geolocated to Carrizalillo, a rural town in Guerrero, by Pernicious Propaganda, a Mexico security research team specializing in geolocations. The purpose of releasing the video is to release propaganda, showing that the criminal group is well trained or disciplined. However, we know that's not the case for these cartel organizations. I'll actually show you guys these videos and you guys can see these guys are not the best. So as we can see in this video, we have Cartel de la Sierra doing a training camp under new recruits. They're showing them basic training, how to use a firearm and how to run around with it. It's not too advanced, nothing too much, but it's propaganda for them so they can look more elite than they actually are. For the sixth story of today, we have gunmen enter municipal palace and kill the mayor of Temoac, Morelos. Yesterday afternoon, Valentin Lavin Romero, the mayor of Temoac, Morelos, was murdered by two gunmen who attacked him inside the municipal palace. After killing the mayor, the two gunmen fled on a motorbike in the direction of Popotlan. Authorities launched an operation to search for the two gunmen, although no arrests have been reported so far. This was the second time Valentin Lavin has been attacked this year, and sadly, the second attack was successful. The first attack was on January 31st, 2026. Lavin was shot while inside his vehicle at a gas station located on the Mexico to Oaxaca Federal Highway in the municipality of Xantetelco. So far, it is unclear exactly why Lavin was targeted. Lavin is the son-in-law of Andrea Angelina, alias La Patrona, the former treasurer of Temoac and an alleged member of the criminal cell known as Los Aparicio and Los Huasulco. She has been arrested twice, once in November 2024 in possession of methamphetamine and firearms. She was released and arrested a year later, along with 10 other people on September 23, 2025. And you can see here on the screen with the other people she was arrested. Sadly for him, his mom was linked into organized crime, which made him a prey for anyone that wanted to do any harm to his mother. Either they will get his mother or they will get him. In this case, they might get him both. She's in prison and he is now dead. All because her mother got into organized crime. For the next story, we have a CJNG officer in Veracruz. El Gordo Frank was captured after a shootout in Alvarado. This afternoon, local CJNG boss Francisco Reyes Ramon, alias El Gordo Frank, was arrested by public security forces after a shootout in a residential neighborhood of Alvarado, Veracruz. The operation took place earlier today in Colonia Valente Cruz of Alvarado, a small coastal city 70 kilometers southeast of La Heroica, Veracruz. In addition to El Gordo Frank, his son, and 2 other alleged hitmen were also arrested. Earlier news articles linked El Gordo Frank to the kidnapping of 46 migrants in 2021 that also sparked a major shootout in the city. Veracruz Governor Cuauhtémoc Garcia stated at a press conference that El Gordo Frank and his cell were heavily involved in human trafficking as well as cargo truck robberies and attacks on state police officers. I'm telling you guys, they're going after CJNG. They don't care if it's a high level, low level. All of them are getting it. They're going after them. Although this guy looked like he had been in trouble for a couple of years already. He disappears on migrants in 2021. That's 5 years of impunity. It caught up to him though. Now he's going to prison and hopefully they're not nice to him there. And for our last story of the day, we have Fernando alias El Cebollo, an operator of La Malliza faction, was arrested in the municipality of Manzanillo, Colima, according to the journalist Carlos Jimenez. According to the information provided by Jimenez, who also hosts the program Telediario and C4 en Alerta, the suspect was captured during Operation Sea of Goblins, Operativo Duendes del Mar, carried out by agents from Colima, Secretary of Security and Citizen Protections, and the Navy. Authorities arrested El Cebollo in possession of a long gun, handguns, ammunition, and drugs. These items and the suspects were subsequently transferred to the public prosecutor's office. In a video shared by Jimenez, Fernando is seen being escorted by security personnel to the entrance of the Attorney General office. As of now, authorities have not disclosed the specific actions that led to the capture of the alleged La Malliza member, nor details regarding his operations within the criminal organizations. What do we know about La Malliza? La Malliza is one of the factions that splintered from the Sinaloa Cartel. It was founded by Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who recently pleaded guilty into the U.S. court and was sentenced on organized crime-related charges. Following his arrest, leadership of the group reportedly passed to his son, El Mayito Flaco, who is currently waging a war against the rival Los Chapitos faction for control of Sinaloa and other regions of the country and the whole Sinaloa Cartel itself. La Malliza operations are notable for the implementation of money laundering schemes and strategic realignments involving alliances in the northern and western part of the country of Mexico. The Sinaloa Cartel, they are the most violent right now because they don't know what to do. They're just trying to squeeze money from anyone and anybody. And this has been the news for today, guys. Thank you for watching the weekly news from July 20th to July 26th. Mexico is always in flames. It's a constant war. If I reported all the news that happens every day, man, it'll be like 5 hours of news every day. It's crazy. It's super sad what goes down there in Mexico. It's a constant civil war, and they don't see it like that. However, like and subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you guys more news.